Eric? Eric!
Hello, my little Luxes. Welcome to another episode of luxxxycharms, and I am your host, cosplayer Charcy Lux. And as always on luxxxycharms, we like to do movie reviews or movie or TV commentary, and our movie review is going to be The Devil Below. Welcome back to another episode of luxxxycharms, or if you are returning from the Luxxxy family, welcome back. I'm glad to have you come and join me for another movie review. And I also brought back my original cosplay of my Winter Witch. Well, today I, Charcy Lux, am the Winter Witch, and will eventually come up with a name, and it'd be one of those things where Charcy Lux, when I originally started cosplaying her, that we had the whole LARPing D&D thing, that she was a witch, but she was a forest witch. So Charcy Lux really wouldn't be the name for my Winter Witch because I'm not the biggest fan of winter. And it is snowing pretty good today, and so I figured that starting for January, with it being cold, winter, windy, we'd bring back the Winter Witch. But anyway, enough of me carrying on about my cosplay and whatever else is going on in the universe. Welcome to my channel. This is how I am. I am scatterbrained, I am all over the place. For the theme of They Stir Below, that a movie that recently came out, only just in 2021, called The Devil Below, that I saw this on Tubi and I kept thinking this one would be perfect to cover. So watched it for the very first time. I'm just going to go through a general quick review response after watching the film and everything, and that I'm just going to give the cast and the crew, do my usual spiel, and I'm going to go through the trivia and everything that's on IMDb and just kind of react to it. So I'm just going to kind of do a cold read for those, so we'll see how much I stumble on my words as I read, because we know I love to pronunciate things.
Oh God, outstanding.
But anyway, this will also be a spoiler alert, but I am not going to give away the ending for this film, so fair warning for that as well, and viewer discretion is advised. I'm going to give the quick plot summary that I have right here available on IMDb. The storyline is there is an abandoned place nestled deep in the Appalachian country where underground coal mines have been ablaze for decades. When a team of researchers try to find out how the fires started, they soon discover something more startling than the mystery that sent them there. They're not alone. And that was made by Vertical Entertainment. And I will give the cast and the crew of this film, and I will say ahead of time, I apologize if I mispronounce anyone's names. You have Alicia Sanz as Arian, Adan Canto as Darren, Will Patton as Shetman, Zach Avery as Jamie, Chinaza Uche as Sean, Jonathan Sadowski as Terry, Jesse LeTourette as Shelby, William Mark McCullough as Dale, Alpha Torvet as Elroy, Nathan Phillips as Kane, Kevin Wayne as Mountain Man, and Duncan Novak as Eric. Director, Bradley Parker, and the writers were Eric Sharboth and Stefan Jawowski. And this is labeled as a horror, mystery, and thriller. The idea of The Devil Below is that in the Appalachian Mountains, there is an old town called Shockham Hills, and it used to be a mining town. But at some point, sometime around the 1970s, all of a sudden this mining town just mysteriously disappeared, that it even disappeared from all of the maps. But there was a college professor and several of his colleagues that all wanted to discover and figure out what the mystery of this missing Shockham Hills was.
So that's what happened here?
No, we don't know yet.
There are hundreds of coal-seam fires throughout the world. Some were ignited through natural processes, others were brought on by man.
Because their intent for finding this place was the fact that the idea of the mining company that was in Shokum Hills, that there was an accident that happened deep down in the mine, and it caused a great fire and forced, obviously, the miners and the town to have to abandon everything. But to this day, supposedly, the fires in the mine are still burning. So the professor wants to know several different things and mysteries to find out, that he gets his crew together and they hire a survivalist woman by the name of Ariane, that she's an expert at finding hidden or lost locations. But this professor, Darren, wants to find this place for a couple of main reasons. But reason number one was the fact that they wanted to get a hold of this material. And the fact that if this was a material that was able to still be burning for this long after decades of time, he was interested to find out what this exact material is and what they could do about this. He also wanted the option to be able to prevent future fires like this from happening. His biggest reason for wanting to find the place was that he wanted to know what had happened and why this town just disappeared and nobody talked about it anymore, and that it was even wiped from the maps.
We know there was a fire, but not what caused it. We know there was a town here, but not why it vanished. And we know there were miners.
If they were miners.
And Ariane, who, like I said, was an expert at survivalist, at finding difficult locations. She was a mountain climber, she was a adventurer, a hiker, a fighter, every little thing that you can think of. She was taught well by her father. And she was able to take an old map from the 1970s that had Shokum Hills on it and took newer ones to try and pinpoint the general area where they should be able to find this missing mine town. Well, while they're in the general area and close to where it should be, they come to a small town, and Ariane goes in to ask questions of the locals. And immediately asking about Shokum Hills, she notices that she's met with strange stares, and immediately the one man looks at her and says, "You and your crew need to turn around, go back to the highway, and go back home. You shouldn't be here." Well, because of this, obviously, the crew knows that they are super close to their destination, and they end up with an unwanted escort trying to chase them away in their car. But Ariana knows that because of this person, she's able to pinpoint exactly where the opening that this person didn't want them to go to.
They wanted to push us past one very specific point in the road.
All right, so what are you saying?
That spot where he slowed down? Yeah. That's where we need to go.
So in finding this hidden road in the woods, they happen upon a very strange thing that is in the middle of these woods in the Appalachian Mountains. They come across an electrified fence, and right away Terry and Sean kind of start asking questions like, "This is really weird, why would you have an electrified fence?" And Darren kind of just simply says it's to prevent people like us from coming in.
Why put up an active electric fence in the middle of nowhere?
Want to keep us out.
This doesn't feel right.
All right, we need to find a way around this gate.
Well, then they keep asking the question of, well, why? Why would you want to prevent people from coming in? So obviously it starts adding to the mystery of, one, why did this town go missing? And two, what is with this electrified fence? I mean, obviously you're giving a little bit of a hint at the very beginning of the film that tells you that they're not trying to prevent people from coming in, they're trying to prevent something from coming out. So obviously, because of their guide, she is able to get them on the other side of this electric fence safely. But as soon as they are in this area, they start causing problems, and all the locals, you start finding out that they are all around the perimeter or inside this place, and they're guarding something. They are literally with guns and alarm systems, all kinds of stuff, and they find out that this group is somewhere in the middle of this area close to Shokum Hills, so they want to find these people so that they can get rid of them. Well, as usually when it comes to a horror film of some sort, the crew happens upon the sinkhole that is the mine and decide they want to get down below so that they can see if they can find this mysterious material that burns deep down below in the mine. Once again, there's a cage barrier over top of this sinkhole, and it's in fact electrified, just like the electric fence.
Yeah, it's electrified.
Well, can we power it off or something?
I don't know about power it off, maybe bypass it. Like that?
Yeah, something like that.
Now this puts my like spidey senses all in a little tissy uproar of it telling me, they're trying to keep something down there. But this crew takes it the opposite way of thinking it's to prevent people from going in. Well, they, of course, open this thing up, and immediately they are met with these strange creatures that end up attacking them. And because of the breach on the sinkhole, it causes these creatures from below to keep escaping from this mine.
We have a breach. Repeat, we have a breach.
So you start finding out that the town of Shocum Hills didn't technically disappear. What had happened was that this was supposed to be the well to hell, and that they were supposed to be digging and finding this mystery that, well, for its namesake, the well to hell. Well, they unleash these strange creatures and this strange ever-burning fire. So the town of Shocum Hills didn't technically disappear. The town of Shocum Hills, all the townsfolk and the miners who had survived, now became the guardians of this gate, and were trying to prevent these creatures from rising above. And I will keep the ending of this film a nice mystery. I'm not going to give it away since it's such a recent film, but I feel like this one deserves at least a chance. So give it a watch if you haven't seen it. Definitely watch it with some friends. And yes, I understand and realize that it has a lot of plot holes in it and certain situations that could have been worked out, but I feel it deserves at least a chance. And find out if the protectors of Shocum Hills are able to contain these creatures once more, and are they able to save the rest of the world? And like I said, I was going to do something a little bit different this time, just to do a cold read of the trivia that is up on IMDb and just kind of react and respond to what I am reading. And that for The Devil Below, the scenes in the mine are filmed in Slade, Kentucky, and you can visit it and take a tour of inside the mine. There are 2 different touring companies, the Gorge Underground and the SUP Kentucky, or SUP, all in capital letters. That, I think, is really cool. And Slade, Kentucky, I don't think is that far from me. I should have to have some fun and go and visit this place and go and get a tour. Kind of do something similar like what I did with when I found out that in Paranormal Island, the place that they filmed is like literally only about an hour away from where I am, so we know how much I love visiting places where movie sets had happened, especially for horror films that I get into. The Well to Hell is an urban legend that dates back to the late 1980s. That's something I should find the original urban legend for the Well to Hell, and that'd be a fun ghost story to kind of cover, so let's keep that in mind. Jonathan Sadowski, Nathan Phillips, and director Bradley Parker previously worked together on horror movies Chernobyl Diaries. So that, I did recognize a lot of those characters from that, and that the Chernobyl Diaries, that came out in 2012. So that, I mean, it's the typical that if directors, writers, and actors and actresses all have really good chemistry, really like working together, you'll see them continue to do more movies and films and TV shows together. There are presently nearly 50 coal seam fires occurring across the planet. They add significant amounts of toxins into the Earth's atmosphere. That's not cool, so yay for more toxins in our environment. In the very early 1800s, the Lewis and Clark expedition of what would later become the central and western United States reported seeing coal seam fires. So they've always kind of been a part of our history. Now we get into my thoughts, my recommendations, that kind of thing. And I do recommend this film. I really like this film. I felt like this one was done really well. I love the story for it and everything, probably because this is surrounded by an urban legend, and I love urban legends. And yes, towards the end, there are plot holes, and there are certain aspects where you stop and you think about, like, okay, maybe this could have been done, but at the same time, I felt it was very well done. The acting was really great, and I liked the characters. Even the one character who was overly whiny and complained all the time, the character who was Terry.
Is there anything I could do to maybe facilitate your driving?
You could shut up, amigo.
I still appreciated his character, and I like that aspect where it's like you have every little different character there, where it's like you are gonna have the person that's complaining about everything. Everyone has that friend. And yes, that friend gets on your nerves every once in a while. Did this film also use a few cliches in order to create mystery and suspense? Yes, it definitely did. And it also had a very strong feeling of making me think of other horror films as well. But most films and books take inspiration from others around them and everything. Now, even with its plot holes and its cliches that come and go throughout the film, I really like this film. So yes, I recommend it. I think you should give it a watch. Like I said, I wanted to be very careful not to give away the ending to this film for the fact that it is so recent. Yes, I've had some recent films that I have told, but I at least give a heads up and let you know, like, hey, spoilers, and I give away the ending. Not this time. But I do also like the mystery. That the one thing that I will give away is that they're very careful at how they introduce this creature and how they slowly reveal it to you. Because that is the one thing that I can give cheesy B-rated horror movies a bad rap for, is that 9 times out of 10, they reveal the monster like immediately. And I like that mystery of not knowing what is coming after you, that mystery of what is this thing. And they do a really great job with the camera work, the cinematography, the artistic view that they also give. And I was gonna say that these creatures are able to paralyze people. And when you are paralyzed, you also can't see right, and you kind of get drugged. So on top of being paralyzed, they're kind of seeing things weirdly. So I like that element, that you're very crudely introduced to these creatures. So it helps to add to the mystery of the town. I won't carry on too much more about this film. I really did like it. And like I said, I would love to know your thoughts and opinions on the film. I know that this one has a bad rap and that it has a low rating on IMDb, and it's technically in just below average rating. So give this one a watch, give it a go. Let me know if you have seen it and what you think of it, and we can go more into detail about it, because like I said, I'm trying to be really careful not to give away too much about this one, because I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this one. And that's my biggest appreciation for Tubi as of right now, is the fact that, well, one, it's free with ads, not like all these other streaming companies that now they charge you, and they're gonna charge you extra if you don't want to watch their streaming services with ads. Okay, cable TV.
How about now?
Anyway, we won't go too far into a rant about that. I mean, I literally just did a recent video talking about the differences and similarities between physical and streaming materials, that it's just going to turn into more and more. I think we're going to go back to doing physical, because these companies, my God, they are getting greedy. We are surrounded by so much corporate bullshit. But anyway, I'm gonna get off that highway very quickly. No. And just say, yeah, give this one a chance. It's free to watch on Tubi. You might even be able to find it free to watch somewhere else, maybe even YouTube. I've been discovering that YouTube has a lot of the same films free to watch on their channel as what Tubi does. So I thought that was pretty cool. And I mean, theirs is the same aspect. It's free to watch, but with ads. And thank you so much for joining me here again on another Luxxxy Charms. If you would like to follow me on my other social medias, please come follow me on my Twitter or Blue Sky for Charcy Lux with 3 X's, or on my Threads or Instagram for Charcy87. And if you would like to help support me just a little bit more, please come join me on my Patreon. And you can see on the screen right now my other Patreon members. And thank you so much for joining and helping to support me just a little bit more so that I can continue creating better content and better cosplays for the future. And remember, I am the afterlife of the party, but I would love for you to come and join me in the afterlife of the party. There's always room for more in the monster horror family. And always remember to slay. Subscribe, like, and always be yourself. And remember to love yourself, because self-love is the best love you can ever give yourself. And once again, please give this film a chance. It's one of those where I can see where a lot of people don't like it, but at the same time, I'm not like everybody else. It takes a lot for me to dislike a film. And this one, yes, it's gonna remind you of a lot of really popular horror films out there. But that's what makes for good writing, is taking inspiration from others who have laid the groundwork before you and coming up with your own ideas. So yes, please give it a chance. And remember, please have a Luxxxy Charms kind of day. Bye!